Hi, I'm Joyce Alice. This is my channel, The Joyful Eye. This is the Raggedy Ann doll that I was given when I was 5 years old. And this is Polly Dolly, my simple, easy to sew rag doll. And the way I came to make Polly Dolly was because I really loved my Raggedy Ann when I was a little girl. Lots of memories attached to this little piece of cloth and stuffing. And I wanted to give my 3 great nieces a little rag doll that they could love and cuddle and keep. And at first I thought about making them a Raggedy Ann, but when I looked at the pattern and thought about all the sewing involved in first making the doll, then making the little pinafore and the bloomers, the ruffles, the collar, the buttons and buttonholes and Velcro and all the rest of it, I just didn't want to spend that much time. So I made my own design rag doll, and I kept it very, very simple. I think she turned out real cute. She's easy to sew, and she's very easy to love and cuddle. Polly Dolly is about the same size as my old Raggedy Ann. She's about 16 inches long. And as you can see, her body is very simple. I sew the torso and legs and half of the upper half of the arms all in black so that she looks like she's wearing a body stocking. And that way she doesn't have to have sleeves on her little dress. She's a rag doll. So her dress is raggedy. There's no hem. There's just one simple little pocket on the front just for fun. The sleeves are not there. It's just basically she has an armhole, which is slit in the, you just leave an opening when you're sewing the seam. And so her arms poke through and she doesn't really need a sleeve. There's no fastenings. There's just a simple casing with an elastic in it. So she's easy to get dressed. Her hair, I think, is better than the Raggedy Ann. Raggedy Ann's hair is glued to her head, so you really couldn't do anything with it. It was just there. But Polly Dolly's hair is stitched onto the top seam of her head, so her hair can be played with. You can just leave it loose, or you can tie it into pigtails, you can braid it, you can put it in a bun, whatever you want to do. So let's see, I think that's about it. Oh, and she has a little heart, of course, that says I love you. If you'd like to make your own Polly Dolly doll, just click on the link in the description below this video, and that will take you to thejoyfuleye.com, my website, and then just scroll down. It's almost all the way at the bottom of the main page. So just keep scrolling until you get to a picture of Polly Dolly. Then you just click on that link right up there to get the pattern and the see the sewing instructions. That takes you to my ragdoll page. So it's just step by step. And the first step is to download the free pattern PDF file from this website, which you do by clicking up here. And when you click there, it takes you to Google Docs. And there are 6 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper in a single PDF file. And you just simply download, or you can just print it out directly from Google Docs. You download it, the icons are in the upper right. Then you click, once you've downloaded it, you click your back arrow to go back to my ragdoll page on my website. And then you just go down the step-by-step instructions. Step 2 is to buy your fabric and notions, and it tells you there's a list of everything that you need. You might not need to buy too much of it because it takes very little. You might have it already in your remnants. This is by the way, this is not recommended for children under 3 years old. And also, please read your fabric and material labels to make sure the supplies are non-toxic, especially the black fabric marker pen. Make sure that that's non-toxic. Step 3 is to pre-wash your fabric. Step 4 is to cut the fabric out. And there's photos to show all the steps, what you do. Step 5 is you transfer the markings on the face template to one of the cutout head fabric pieces. And there's several ways to do this. Probably the easiest way is to just get a sheet of carbon paper and trace around the markings. But you can cut them out and trace around with a pencil, and however you want to do it. Before you start sewing, go ahead and mark the mouth and the eyebrows and the eyelashes on your face, because if you make a mistake, it would be real easy at this point to just cut out another piece and do it over. But once you've sewed the doll all up, of course you couldn't do that. And this is what your cutout fabric pieces will look like. Now it's time to start sewing. So step number 6 is to sew and stuff the arms. And it just tells you step by step what to do. And you sew around and you turn it inside out and you stuff it with polyfill, and then you stitch it closed, stitch on the red dotted lines, and so on. Step 7 is to sew and stuff the legs, which basically the same as the arms, except the legs have a knee, so you're just going to mark where the knee goes with a pin, and then you're going to stuff it first and then stitch it, and then stuff the upper leg and stitch it. And then you'll have your arms and your legs done. Step 8 is to sew the head and the arms to the body. So with right sides together, you're going to sew each head piece to a body piece at the straight edges where indicated by the pattern. So the body has a straight edge up at the top, and then where the legs attach is slightly curved. So you're going to sew the head to the body at the straight edges. And then you thumb press your seams open. Right side up, pin the arms to one of the joined head body pieces, and you stitch your arms in place. And this part is a little tricky. With right sides together, you're going to pin the 2 head body pieces together, keeping the arms inside. So because the arms are inside, that's going to make it kind of lumpy. But it's not too hard, really. Then you're going to stitch along 3 sides, and then you're going to clip your curves and turn it inside out. Press the seams open inside, and you're going to turn under, make your little hem around the bottom. Step 9, you're going to sew the legs to the body, and you're going to stuff the body. So you pin your legs to one of the bottom edges of the body, stitch the legs in place, stuff the head body with fiberfill, pin the bottom of the body closed, and stitch through all thicknesses. Then you're getting close to the end. Now step 10 is to hand sew the felt pieces to the doll. So you just follow the directions step by step. Step number 11 is to make the wig and hand sew it to the head. So you take your twill strip and you turn the ends under, and make sure that it is going to run the entire length of the top seam of the head. Then take your cardboard template and wrap your yarn around the template. You need to get that thick, bulky kind of yarn. The thin kind I don't think will come out as nice. Just get the thick, bulky kind. Don't be chintzy with it. Wrap it real close together. Then slide that yarn loop off of the cardboard template. Lay the twill strip right side down onto the yarn loops and pin them into place, and then stitch the yarn to the strip of twill along all 4 sides. So when you'll get done, you'll have a very simple wig, and you'll just hand sew it to the top of the head along the top seam, and then you're going to brush some pink powder blusher makeup on the cheeks, and the doll is finished. Now we need to sew the rag dress. So step 12 is making the dress, and it's pretty simple, very simple actually. So you just follow the step-by-steps, and then you pull the dress onto the rag doll and tie the hair ties onto the yarn hair, and Polly Dolly is finished. Ready to give to some sweet little girl for her best friend.